What's going on, Soul Nation? Ginger Prime here, coming at you once again with some thoughts regarding Destiny 2 New Light, the Witch Queen, and Lightfall tentative title. Essentially the future of Destiny 2 as a franchise, as a game, and something that personally I really have always enjoyed this game overall. Welcome once again to the season of hype. If you guys haven't seen, I guess, my impressions, especially of the Destiny 2 community, creator community, of one that I somewhat call myself kind of loose casual in terms of being a Destiny 2 creator. We've been able to talk with Bife and many people on the podcast. I've covered this game over at Work to Game before, and I've debated bringing it here in terms of guides and just breaking down the game itself because it's something that I've often enjoyed. But I've kind of held off because especially over the course of the last year, this past year, year 3, the seasonal model, the FOMO, it really just disincentivized me. So I would play it very heavily. Note this. I'd play it, and then a life event would happen. I had my son, and take a break, and then it was really hard to get back into it, especially because I'd look at it and say, oh, the season's about to end. There's no way I'm going to grind up, maybe the missing 20 levels, and there's no way I'm going to pay for the missing 20 levels. I'm just going to wait until the next season starts. So I'm happy to see, honestly, out of all of this, there's a lot of good here with the game. And this is more of an opinion piece. The news itself, I'm sure, is being covered, obviously, by the Destiny creators that you're probably already subbed to. There's some really great, talented people out there. And, talking with Dado on the podcast as well. Fantastic guy. Honestly, his love of Final Fantasy X is to be second to none. So what I'm getting at here is Luke Smith talked about changing up the seasonal model that they messed up. And I honestly love the fact that he said he owned that. There's a lot of really good that I felt like they delivered in the reveal. The fact that the Stranger is coming back, this one-off character arc that never seemed to go anywhere. But there's still a lot of things that we need to talk about. They're retiring gear and all these things that are coming up and the positives and the negatives to that aspect. They're retiring zones, letting the game essentially not grow beyond 115 gigabytes as it goes for PS4. They're bringing first in cross-dimensional or cross-generation cross-play for Xbox ecosystems and PlayStation ecosystems. And then essentially their goal with 2021, with the Witch Queen, their target is to bring full cross-play to Destiny 2. Here's the really good stuff. They're listening. Like, one of the things that everybody was just complaining about, and I put out a video about it here on the channel, is that if Bungie is listening, that's good news. And that's why I always want to encourage people who are frustrated or upset. Destiny is this season of hype, this season of grind, and the season of bitch in terms of content. With any game. You see it with every game when there's especially long droughts of content, long questions, the unknown. I think it's more about the future of what is happening. Is Destiny 3 right around the corner? Well, news, it is not. And I think that's a really good thing. Ultimately, however they go about it, it's going to be an adventure with us and them together, trying to figure this whole thing out, making sure that it works in the long run. The fact that they've announced, at least up to 2022, the 3 new expansions. First, Beyond Light this fall. I'm going to absolutely pre-order. I'm really excited about this. The fact that you can upgrade on PS5 and using, Xbox Series X, like whatever platform you're on, there's no harm in getting it now because it's going to just carry forward with you. They didn't really talk about PC and Stadia much, and hopefully we'll get more information over the summer as it exists. I'm really personally excited, and I hope that from this last year with Shadowkeep, the lessons learned regarding the seasonal model and the structure of the gameplay are felt throughout the overall release. And again, when it comes down to it, cross-play for this game, as we move into this next generation and more, it's going to be epic. Now, the questions that remain, right? Like so if you're 60K, which they say, 60 frames a second, 4K, if they were doing 60K and 30 frames, geez Louise, that'd be like guys going the wrong way. That's great, but what about Xbox One? What about PS4? I think essentially there are concerns there. I think you're going to have a benefit. I think you're going to have an advantage. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But as somebody who's planning on and has been saving for both the Series X and the PS5, I think I'm going to be ready to go, and it's not going to bother me much at all. I think when I get a PS5, it's going to be interesting to see if the loading improves. PC and Stadia have obviously the edge there, and I think they need to connect those environments. One of the things and the greatest weaknesses of Stadia itself is it's just not a lot of people playing it, and we can always talk about just the viability of cloud, but I think GeForce Now as a service and a solution is really quite incredible, and Destiny 2 plays great in that ecosystem. So crossplay and essentially the technical differences are going to be interesting to see how that's handled. It could be also and serve itself as a lesson, a learning ground at its core in terms of how is crossplay going to work when you have people who are on less powerful systems. Are they able to segment them out of PvP? Maybe making that a last resort or an optional thing that people have to opt into. If you're going up against somebody who's pumping out twice the frames per second than you are, there's just a visual and also just, I guess, a reaction advantage. And we've seen that in studies and more. I personally, really excited. I wish they dropped the 2. I don't know. I guess at some point they would do a Destiny 3. But this whole one world concept, bringing back the Cosmodrome, great. I'm looking forward to being able to run around that world. I've been debating in my, I guess, frustration with the seasonal model if I should just go play Destiny 1, and I know a couple people have gone in and done that, but thankfully I've got enough games to play to occupy my time that I was like, you know what, I'll wait to see what Destiny decides to bring here in the future. So ultimately, I think it was definitely a good conference. I'm very curious as to how the worlds and the zones leaving. I think that is essentially what we're trying to do with the seasonal model, where things come in and out. I think if that kind of changes over years with like driving the narrative of this world forward, there is no reason to go back to this IO right now, but we can bring in new worlds and thus keeping the game evolving. And hopefully those, the reason why you're not going back to IO is something narrative and lore driven, so that essentially you kind of had to be there for that moment in the expansion, and thus they don't have to keep the Red War going on. We can be out in the European Dead Zone and not sitting here worried about, like the Red Legion. We've beaten them, we've crushed them, we've killed the Almighty, we've done all this awesome stuff. Let's move on, please. And it's with that I go, yep. As always, season of hype. Excited for this future. Looking forward to diving in today with the latest season itself. Obviously, I feel like I'll probably easily fall off the model if I have another kid, which I'm not expecting. That would be really big news to me. That'd be a surprise, I think, to Julie over the course of the next season in Destiny. But it's going to be hopefully a fun summer between Destiny, between Phantasy Star Online, between Minecraft Dungeons, as we wait for Final Fantasy 14 patch 5.3 at some theoretical point this summer. There's going to be a lot of really games to play, and again, I really you feel the gap in crossplay not being here, but at least cross save is. Those are my thoughts. I mean, there's ultimately, I'd love to know yours at the end of the day. There's a lot of details that they posted regarding the new season. There's a lot of details about how they're planning on introducing this, and ultimately, the fact they're adding a new element, stasis, is interesting. And holy crap, the absolute amount of work that's going to entail at the end of the day when it comes down to it. The fact that we might be getting the Vault of Glass back, and might be getting, is that we'll be going back to the Vault of Glass. I'm really excited to see how this all weaves together, because at the end of the day, this is also a case study for other companies. Like, what really makes a game as a service something worth your time and investment, both monetarily and just, again, with that time aspect where you invest in the world, the lore, playing with other people. I'd love to know your thoughts on this, and I thank you for joining me for this coffee chat as I sit down and I just kind of muse over what we saw and what we learned today. As always, I'm always rooting for the sexiest devs out there, and hopefully they can continue to deliver really good and unique experiences, continue to adapt and learn from a good, hopefully healthy business model and a passionate community who really, really enjoys playing this game. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I thank you for your time and your attention and listening to me ramble on about Destiny 2. Hopefully we'll see Beyond Light rocking and rolling as it rocks out on September 22nd. geez Louise, hopefully we get some time with, Cyberpunk. Oh man, it's going to be a heck of a crazy year for games. I love you guys. I love your faces. Hopefully you're having a good day, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon about more video game content. If you're new here, welcome. If you feel like we earned your sub, hope you hit that sub button. That's up to you. And if you're returning, what's up, Soul Nation? You sexy mother. Beep. If nothing else, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hope it made you laugh in some way, shape, or form. And if nothing else, hopefully you see you in my next video. Until then, take care. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. This video is sponsored by me. If you guys like podcast and long form content, I hope you check out Ginger Gaming Radio. Link will be in the description of this video below. So if you're still watching this video, thank you, and check out the new channel for more content, and hopefully you enjoy. Thank you.